Social Studies 30-1. This is source number 2 of our look at neoconservatism. If you'll recall yesterday, source 1 was a cartoon critiquing Obamonomics and government spending. Today is a textual source. It looks like it could have been a quote. I'll give you a second or two to read it over, then we'll talk about it. Okay, so things that I would be going after would be limited in scope. That's something that you're going to need to expand on. To me, limited in scope means the government's not going to try to do too much. It's going to be there, as it says later on, to maintain the rule of law, protect your economic freedom, and that's all a government should do. It's there to stop us from killing each other and to ensure that we've got economic freedom in the pursuit of profit, money, happiness, and so on. So limited in scope, you'd have to speculate about what that could look like. Probably they wouldn't have a lot of income tax. There would not be a lot of government spending, not a lot of infrastructure. The government's going to be modest in aim. It's not going to try to do too much. Um, this guy might advocate for a greater degree of privatization, less public ownership and government regulation of the economy. And then he goes on to say that civil society will do best when government respects these foundational elements. You need to define and talk about civil society. So again, on a written exam, you were allowed to look up terms using a dictionary. Civil society basically means life beyond government and economics, your private life, your happiness, your home, your family, your friends, and so on. And another key phrase that I really wanted to point out was the ability to provide for one's family. To me, that looks very much economic. This is the guy that is advocating for greater degrees of economic freedom, and he will look after his own family, and he will look after his own friends. He doesn't need or want the government to do that. He'll take care of those things himself. And if the government leaves us alone to do these things, we'll do quite well with just that minimum amount of government involvement in our life. It's reminiscent of a classical liberalist thinker, but again, classical liberalism actually ended in the early 1900s. So this guy is advocating for a greater degree of capitalism. I would say he's probably even a neoconservative, the way he lays out what he'd like to see in society. So if we go back to our guide, it's a bit of a political and an economic source. In terms of principles of liberalism, well, obviously he alludes to the rule of law. You're going to want to explain that. I'd also highlight individual rights and freedoms. He wants greater economic rights and freedoms. He wants to pursue what is best for him. So you want to highlight that. And again, economic freedom, and for sure you see private property. Here's someone that wants to pursue his own self-interest. Leave me alone to do my thing. I don't need that much government involvement in my life. In terms of perspective, well, he's a guy that is challenging modern liberalism. He's saying, look, it's gone too far. Income taxes have gone up and up and up. There's way too much government spending. He'd want to back off modern liberalism and embrace neoconservatism. He wants more economic freedom to pursue his own self-interest. And that's about all I can think of for source number 2. We'll follow this up with source number 3 tomorrow.